Heidi ho there. I'm Red. Welcome to Coffee and DaBEAR. So today we're going to be talking about kind of extrapolating on what I talked about on Monday, and that is buying and selling tools. The idea is that you can outfit your shop by buying tools, fixing them up, turn around selling them, using them while you have them as well. You know, the idea isn't just to turn around, buy and sell, and buy and sell, buy and sell. Hey, Dreamer. First, where are you? Well, I'm right here. Hey, Gary. And there's Ford. I knew he'd be here. How's it going, guys? First, where am I? You mean like I'm based out of Las Vegas, if that's what you mean. But anyway, so I wanted to talk some more about the buying and selling thing. Some people got confused thinking that I was meaning that, you know, that you should just buy it, turn around, and immediately resell them. And the idea is you buy a tool that is underappreciated, underloved, if you would, use it until you can turn around and resell it. I would often buy a tool, fix it up, and immediately put it on Craigslist, but not with the expectation that it would sell. I'd be putting it at the price I would like to sell it at, knowing that that's probably not going to happen for a while. Morning, Michael. Picked up a new socket set, huh? Which was it? The deep wall sockets? Oh, we got lots of people filing in now. We got Chip from Arlington, Texas. Yeah. Is that Ria? Sorry, the Bears pronunciation is not worth a darn, but yeah, I am feeling better finally. I'm feeling probably about 95%. I feel pretty good. It's just in fact, I just got back from the doctor. I was running late. I was screaming across town to make sure I got back here. But yeah, the Bears doing pretty good. El Paso. That's two calling in from Texas, and we got one from Central Florida. Ooh, Central Florida. You down Orlando Disney way, or are you just in the middle of cow country? The 3/8 21 piece. Cool. What tools would you not buy and resell? Well, I think, honestly, I think I mentioned it. Maybe I left it out. What do you call it? The one I just bought. The Shopsmith. I think the Shopsmith is an amazing tool. It's the Swiss Army blade of shop tools, but it's got a horrible resale value. It doesn't really matter unless you get it for nearly free. And I've had people offer them to me for free and turned it down because they're such a beast to move. But the Shopsmith is a great tool to have, and I definitely would keep one in the shop. As think of it like, if you know baseball terms, there's the I just forgot the name of the term. The name for the guy who can play any position. Yeah, and that's what the Shopsmith is for me. It could be a vertical drill press, it could be a lathe, it could be a horizontal bore, it could be a disc sander. I've got the one I picked up came with a planer and a joiner and a bandsaw attachment, and it's not great at any of them, but it's that one that can fill a lot of those roles where you're not willing to go out and buy or even dedicate space for one of those tools, or all of those tools for that matter. Northwestern Illinois. Isn't that like, is that north of the Quad Cities? North of Orlando. Yeah, Central Florida. I've only been to Orlando. Yeah, don't worry about the typos, man. We all do them. You know, you've been on the internet long enough. You learn to read through them. Utility player. That's the one. Thanks, guys. You know, One of these days, man, the bear will get with it. But yeah, utility player is what I think of. And that's what my shopsmith is for me. It's, I don't do a lot of lathe work, but if I need one, I got it. I have other sanders and stuff, but if I need a big disc sander, I got that. If I need to set up a second drill press, I got that. And there are cases where I've needed to have, on big projects, more than one drill press set up, with a different tool chucked in it. And yeah, I could get by with just one, but it really saves on time. What'd you miss? Not much, man. Don't worry about it. We're just getting started. Any idea what a Shopsmith Mark 550 eras would be worth? Hold on. The eras are a little fuzzy. What I go by is the color. Is it the one that's like the two-tone where it's kind of silver and greenish, or is it the one where it's a solid kind of gray? Tool Badger. I may resemble that remark. Austin, Texas. San Antonio, Texas. Oh my gosh, we got the whole Texas gang here. What hand tools wouldn't I consider trying to flip? I don't do much with hand tools because unless you're going to make a serious business out of it, and this is what you do all the time, I won't try and resell anything that I won't make at least a $20 or $40 profit on. And with hand tools, that can be really hard to do unless they're very high-end stuff. And if they are very high-end, then you got to really know what it is you're looking at, or you got to be picking them up in bulk. And it's just been kind of spotty trying to do that. I know that there's guys out there who will pay big money for hand planes, and that's just not an area that I have had the time to specialize in. You really got to, that's like knowing fine wines at that point. I find it easier, and actually I would say that's kind of my point, is that when I do this, I'm not doing it just as a business. I'm doing it to get my shop up to the next level. So I will buy and hold on to a tool. I'll have it listed for sale, but I'll keep using it until I find somebody who's ready to buy it. And that's part of the problem is if you're trying to just turn around and sell it and get it out the door, you're probably not going to get the price you want because the chances of the one buyer who really needs that item is willing to pay for it that he's going to be around when you're looking to sell it are slim to none. So I found that sometimes, like that jet table saw, that took me, I think, 7 months to sell, but that was an $800 item. Some stuff I sold what do you call it? The cherry picker thing, the engine hoist, I sold that in 2 days. But that's the difference between an $800 sale and a $100 sale. How good is the mini workbench lathe from Harbor Freight? I hear it's pretty good. I've never used it, but I've heard good feedback on it. 50 thumbs up. I don't know. I get a lot of people who just vote me down because it's the bear. They can't get over the fact that I use an animated bear, and they're just all butthurt about it. Like, oh, you got to be more serious. We're serious guys talking about serious tools. I'm like, get over yourselves. Old skill saws. Yeah, I'll tell you this. If you can find an old skill saw, not just any skill saw, the regular basic skill saws, that's not really a big deal. But the worm drive skill saws, if you can find one of those in good shape, they're worth at least $100. And the one thing to look out for is take the blade off and check around the arbor on that and make sure there's no oil leakage and stuff like that. Because if there is, it's pretty much shot and without a total rebuild. And by that point, you're not going to make any money on it. But if you can't find one that's not leaking oil, it spins freely and everything, and you can get it, I say if you can get it for $50, do it. Do it now. Oh my gosh, we got somebody else from Texas? The bear's large in Texas, huh? Pennsylvania. I like Pennsylvania. Motor City, Detroit. Boy, I spent some time in Detroit and over in Windsor. Let's see here. Original Greenie. Oh, the Original Greenie. You know what? Those. I think we're talking back to the Shopsmith. James asked a question about it, and an original Shopsmith with all the basic stuff. I see people asking anywhere between $150 and $500. I think unless it's in premier shape and you find a collector, you're not going to get $500 for it. If you just want to get it out the door, I'd say about $150. And honestly, that's what I would pay for it, is about $150. I paid I can't remember if I paid $2 or $250 for the one I have now, and it came with the joiner, the planer, and the bandsaw. In fact, and the one he was going to give me for free, it was the same guy, was one of the old greenies, and he just wanted to get it out the door. What tools would you recommend starting a business? I got to ask what kind of business. Because if you're going to be, I don't know, like, data mining or whatever, I don't know. Let me know what kind of business, and I can tell you what you're looking for. Paul says, I have a jet table saw contractor type. Works great. I love the jet saws. The only problem is people who just think because it says jet on it that they're priceless. Also, guys, remember, a lot of these saws are actually made by other companies. It's like cars. They OEM them from somebody else. So make sure what you're getting isn't cheaper under a different brand. Am I going to the Harbor Freight parking lot sale? Like you can keep the bear away from a parking lot sale. Oh, yeah, the shopsmith. Yeah, man, I got to tell you, guys, if you have space in your shop for a shopsmith, I highly recommend them, if for nothing else than as a vertical drill press, because they've got a ton of horsepower behind them, and they've got that variable speed controller, so you can dial it into exactly what you need. Is the adjustable metal welding table from Harbor Freight a good buy? Gary, I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't do, I've only done a little bit of welding in the past. I don't do any welding right now. So I'm not the person to ask welding questions of. I've seen it. It didn't look like a great deal to me. Honestly, most guys, if you have a welder, they just weld up their own tables. The best bear. Oh, you should see the Cubs. They're the good bears. Smoky Mountains. Oh, I love the Smokies. Gatlinburg is my favorite tourist trap in the world. Lawnscape and lawn, also some repair. So if you're doing landscape, well, first of all, I love the trailer that I got, that I picked up from Tractor Supply. It's the quintessential utility trailer you see a bunch of landscapers using, and I picked it up for, oh my gosh, I got it so cheap. I was under $400 by the time, with the discounts and everything else. Always, if you do have Tractor Supply near you, always buy directly while working with the store manager, because they can wheel and deal on stuff what the other people working the store can't, and they can give you a real sweetheart of a deal. Landscaping. Okay, I did landscaping for 2 summers a long time ago, so I know a little bit about it. I can tell you this: recently, not recently, that was 5 years ago, I switched to all electric. Now, maybe you don't have the ability to run electric or whatever where you're going to be, but I mean, and mine weren't corded, I should say. They were all cordless, and I loved that cordless electric. You never had a problem with it running. It just, man, I lent my lawnmower to a buddy of mine at the end of the year. I hadn't needed it again, and he left it buddy. He left it sitting out in his backyard the entire winter. Not that winters are bad in California, but it got rained on, everything else, for something like 8 months straight. When I got it back from him, it looked horrible on the outside. I popped the battery in, it started right up. Paul, belt drive. You're talking again about the jet? Oh, Eric, I'm glad you got that Cobalt set. I wish I'd been able to pull the trigger on that. Yeah, too many expenses here at the beginning of the year. And but yeah, I like that set a lot. Have I signed up for the monthly Harbor Freight coupon catalog? Oh yeah. In fact, I'm a member of the the Inside Track Club, which honestly is not something you have to be, because you can use those coupons even if you're not, but you don't get all the notifications and stuff. It doesn't cost that much, and I found that I get my money back. Best pawn shop find. I've not had good luck with pawn shops. I know a lot of people have. I have not. Any good places besides Lowe's and Home Depot sell dirt cheap lumber? Boy, you know, that's one of the things that really sneaks up on people when they get into doing stuff themselves and doing woodworking and whatnot, is the cost of buying wood. It is surprisingly expensive. And yeah, what I do is I just haunt Craigslist in the free section and also in the materials section and look for stuff that's coming up. And I'll even pick up old used furniture that like someone's tossing out. In fact, I picked up a dining room table that was like a what do you call it? A farmhouse style table, specifically for the wood on the top. I'm gonna chop that thing up and use it for a project. It's shot as a table, but you know, some light sanding, that wood's got a lot more uses left in it. Let's see here. Ridgid or Bosch? Son of a shoe. Bear's messing everything up now. Let me move this over here. That's not what I meant to do. Well, I've completely messed that up. Where'd I go? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to look up this tool he was asking a question about. It was the Ridgid versus the Bosch. And that's the... So I'm not good at remembering. Oh, the tables, that table saw. If you heard me talk about it before, are you looking to buy one used? Is that the one with the granite? All right, hold on here. Boy, that's a night and day differences. You know, the Bosch is a job site saw, and the Ridgid is a contractor shop saw. That's I wouldn't get the Bosch unless you're looking specifically for a job site saw. Hey, no problem, Dreams. And if you got any questions on specific tools later, you know, feel free to email me or post on one of the comment sections. You know, everyone has to complain about smoking my cigar in a woodworking shop. I'll let you in a secret. It's an e-cigar, so it's cool. I'm all right. Buying tools at yard sales, is it too risky? Well, you know, I don't think so. I mean, it's not any different than buying one off of Craigslist. You know, you're still taking a shot in the dark there. I have yet to have gotten really burned on something. Basically, you know, if you're at someone's, you know, garage, they should be able to plug it in, make sure it all works, and take a look at it. I honestly, you know, I haven't had too much of a problem with it. If I think it looks sketchy, if the tools look like they're beat, then they're probably really beat. And if you don't think it's something you want to tackle, then walk away from it. But I've bought stuff at garage sales all the time when I can find them. Oh, I've seen the Milwaukee fuel ratchets. I don't have the budget for Milwaukee fuel ratchets. But I mean, I love the idea of being able to use electric ratchets rather than, you know, air-powered one. Yeah, air power is nice, but if you can afford a nice big, dual stage, you know, air compressor and a big tank and everything else, and it's great. But for those of us who don't have the room for it in the shop or anything else, it can be a real pain. You know, tools at estate sales. Estate sales, I found it can be hit or miss because they're usually run by some company, unless they're still around like on Sunday and they're willing to, to wheel and deal on it. Other than that, sometimes you find some good stuff. It depends on the person running the sale. I guess that goes for garage sales too. Oh, I have no idea that the fuel line is worth the extra money. For everyone I've heard of who uses them, loves them to death. And I think the Milwaukee line of tools is a good, solid line of tools. It's just not something I really need, so you won't see me spending that kind of money on it. $80 for the air compressor. Where'd you get that? Was it at the 3-day sale they had, or just won a contest from Milwaukee Landscape Equipment? Milwaukee, I'll be honest, you just surprised me. I didn't know Milwaukee made landscaping equipment. I gotta look that up now. Milwaukee Landscaping. This should be interesting. Well, that was not a good search. I don't know. Have any of you guys seen that? Is it Makita that makes the electric wheelbarrow thing? That's kind of clever. Oh, look at that. Milwaukee does have landscaping. I've often, I think it was, who was it? The cheapo, Ryobi. They were the first ones, I think, to really venture into the whole lawn care thing with the, matching up with the battery-operated tool line. And I think that's a fabulous idea, because what guy isn't like, well, if I've already got, invested in these batteries, why not also have my, my other tools use them as well? And as I was saying before, I switched over to the battery-powered lawnmower way back like 5 years ago, and I have battery-powered, weed whacker and trimmer and everything else, because boy, the bear remembers back in the day, when he was a cub having to mow the lawn, trying to get those, the gas-powered, lawnmowers started and stuff. I hated arguing with those things. And with the electric, you just turn it on and it just works. Radial arm saw. Are they useful? Yeah, you know what? Believe it or not, radial arm saws are one of the most useful tools in the shop. They can do a lot of stuff. You can cut arbors with them. You can do depth passes really easily. They can do almost anything, and maybe anything actually, that a table saw can do. You can set them up with a router bit also, and run them as a vertical or a top mounted router. You can do all sorts of stuff with a radial arm saw. And they kind of went out of favor because of a couple things. A, they're a little bit dangerous. Oh, open box sale, 125. Nice. Yeah. So anyway, the radial arm saws have a tendency to ride up as you're pulling them towards you, and that's the other thing. You're pulling this giant spinning exposed blade towards you, and it has a tendency to jump if not run properly, and hop up at you. And a lot of people got hurt by them. And so people stopped carrying them. I had a DeWalt radial arm saw for 3 or 4 months. I used it a couple times. I thought it was nice, but I don't like it as well. You don't think you have as much control with the material as you do on a table saw. You definitely, I think, have more control with a chop saw or miter saw, being a dedicated unit. But if you have a limited space, I know a lot of people who get by and do just fine with radial arm saws. So, it's what people use for a long, long time, and a lot of serious woodworkers still use them. You people and your Ryobi stuff. No, I kid. In fact, I actually ran across a video of me comparing my Ridgid to my Ryobi stuff. And unfortunately, I don't have enough content really to go with it, or I would have posted it. But yeah, I've had Ryobi stuff. I ended up giving it to my parents because I just, they needed some extra tools around the house, and I just don't use it. Hey there, Fireship. How's it going? But I don't have a problem with the Ryobi stuff. I think the since they come out with the One Plus series, that they've been so much better than they used to be. The only reason I went with the Ridgid stuff was because it wasn't that much more expensive, and it came with a lifetime warranty, and I liked the feel of it in my hand. It had a better weight balance for me. Yeah, no joke about the better and less moving parts in electrical machines. They're just way better. Battery has no power. What battery has no power? The fuel line 18 volts. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. No, I don't think they'll honor. I'm pretty sure that on the bottom of the 20% off coupons, it says specifically no parking lot sales. I'm fairly positive it says that. Big Sky Tools. Is that Montana? Because I always love anything from Montana. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull them up here. Was one of Norm's tools. Oh, Norm back in the day, man. I love Norm. It's your Big Sky Tools. I got to head back up to Montana this year. We got a place up in Livingston. I got to go back up and see if the fish can mock the bear some more. I am the worst fly fisherman in the entire world. They just laugh at me. That looks cool. Big Sky Tools. I'm going to have to check them out. Anything battery powered has no power. Scott, I'm sorry to tell you, man, but man, have you seen a Tesla? But the thing about electric is that they have all the torque in the world instantly. Anything, but and what you may have seen is where, they have no power is because, they've been scaled back to be, more portable and stuff. But the new batteries that they're using, the 40 volt systems, and there's what was the one that's even bigger than 40 volt that they've been using? Look at the DeWalt stuff they've come out with. They have that portable chop saw and stuff. Yeah, Makita makes some good stuff. I use Makitas for years. Atlanta in the house. Rockwell brushless power tools. Big fan here. Plus free replacement batteries for 16 years. Really, Rockwell, huh? I thought they became a zombie brand. I'm pulling them up real quick here. Rockwell cordless tools. Oh yeah, I've seen these. I've seen this around, and the reason I thought that they were a zombie brand is they've got that flex head one where it has two different bits and you flip it, and that's just like the VTech Vorks or whatever that is, starts with a V. So anyway, I'll check some, maybe I'll do a video on Rockwell tools, but my guess is that they are OEM'd off of someone else. Is Ridgid good about warranty issues, lifetime? Well, a lot of it depends on what store you go into and who you have to deal with. The one thing I do say is cross your T's and dot your I's. You have to keep your proof of purchase, your receipt, and you have to register the tool. If you do all that, now I'm lucky. My wife is a paper filing, wizard. So I just hand her all my stuff, and she takes pictures and photos of everything, and she files them. And if I have a problem, I just tell her what I need. She pulls out the filing cabinet, and I go into the store, slap it down, and Bob's your uncle. When you have all your documentation, there's not much they can do about it. And it's not really Ridgid that makes the determination whether they honor it. It's Home Depot's at the store. They try to act as like the gatekeepers there about whether they're going to accept stuff or not. Hey, from South Carolina. Ooh, how's the weather down there in South Carolina? That's a nice place. Battery-powered lawn tools can thank ethanol for killing the gas-powered equipment. Because it runs too hot and kills the equipment, or because of emissions laws? Yeah. Trains run on electric. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. They think, oh, all the trains are, diesel power, but they run generators that actually run electric motors on the trains. That's what we're talking about. 20-volt drill at Menards for 2 batteries. Put it up against my... Eric, you talking about the Rockwell stuff? Menards is great, I haven't seen a Menards in years. I used to go there all the time when I lived, back in... I lived in Indiana for a while, and I'd head over to Menards all the time when I lived there. Let's see here. Which is cheaper, Black & Decker, DeWalt, or Ryobi? Well, DeWalt is akin to Makita, so that's right out. So Black & Decker is supposed to be on par with Ryobi, but when Ryobi came out with their One Plus system, they really started distancing themselves from Black & Decker and becoming a step above them. And Stanley let Black & Decker really kind of go and just didn't keep them up to date. They have just recently, I would say in the past year, started making real efforts to get back up to be in the game. I'd still say that they're a step below Ryobi, but I think in the next year or two, you're going to start seeing Black & Decker finally get back into the game. Oh, ethanol. Yeah, ethanol will eat rubber. That's for sure. Having done some ethanol production of my own and having to try running it in some old vehicles and stuff, you got to tune that carburetor and you got to replace all your hoses and stuff. Yeah, a lot of people think you can take Shine and just throw it in your vehicle, and you're not going to do that. It'll kill it. Houston, Texas. Are you seriously? We got someone else from Texas? What is going on in Texas? Don't get me wrong. I love Texas. Use Sta-Bil. Yeah, Sta-Bil is an awesome product. For those of you who don't know, if you got gas sitting around for any length of time, you want to get yourself some Sta-Bil, or it's gonna turn into something you don't want in your vehicles or your tools. What brand of tools can you actually buy replacements for? Well, guys, that's a good question, because almost everything these days in this new society we have, where everything is just in time replace or stocking and whatnot, none of these tools are made to be self-serviced. That's the reality of it. If you look at it and you try to figure out how to open one of these up or anything, they're not made to be fixed. And when you can get parts, you have to buy them in components. You're going to get this whole component goes along with it. You're not going to get the one bushing that broke. And that's why I'm telling you, you'll see it in the next 10 to 20 years, man, as 3D printers come down in price, get easier to use, you're going to stop paying for parts and you're going to start paying for blueprints for the STL model, and you're just going to pay like $1 for the intellectual property to download and print your own part. I cannot wait for those days to come. Des Moines. Did I know you were from Des Moines? The Bears lived all over, but, I always say that, in my heart, I'm from Iowa, because that's where my formative years were spent. And I lived in Clive, and I lived in West Des Moines. I lived in Des Moines. My grandparents were from Beaverdale and Urbandale, and that's the Bears' old stomping grounds. And Minnesota. Too many mosquitoes up there in Minnesota. Good fishing. Tony, cell phone number 2. No brainer hand tools to Harbor Freight. No brainer hand garden tools. Oh, to do a video on that. Tony, you got it. We got spring coming up. That's a great idea. We should do, DaBEAR will do a getting ready for spring garden tools idea video. Thanks a lot. By the way, for those of you who don't know what just happened there, Tony just did a super chat. If you look right below the chat window there on your screen, there's the smiley face and there's a dollar symbol. And you can throw DaBEAR a tip, and that goes into helping the channel out and helping DaBEAR stay on here and bring you this content the way he does. Copyright does not apply to functional designs. Okay, but patents do. Did somebody say something about copyright? I don't know. I must have missed it. I was too excited about Tony tipping me $2. Been here all your life. What part of Des Moines? WD-40 is not a lubricant. It's not technically a lubricant. It works as a temporary lubricant. Don't use it as an actual lubricant. I like white lithium grease as a lubricant. Phoenix. It's funny. I was saying I grew up in Des Moines, but I spent my summers in Phoenix. My parents got divorced when I was little, so I know something about the heat. Before I moved here to Vegas, I knew I was getting into. Yeah, at Harbor Freight. I got what you're saying. Georgia, Wrinkle Georgia. Corn Bear. I spent my time in cornfields. I learned you don't run through them, that's for sure. Crookfields, Illinois. The Illini over there. I'm not sure where Crookfield is. I spent some time in Chicago. I spent some time in the Quad Cities, over in Moline, East Moline, Rock Island. Not so much in Davenport. Sheboygan. Plattsburgh, Missouri. You don't see Super Chat on your phone. Well, first of all, your problem is you got an iPhone. No, just teasing. Sorry, I don't have an iPhone, so I don't know how that whole thing works there, but by Whitewater University. Wow. Selling STLs. Well, yeah, I mean, they've already proven that you can copyright them. There was that whole thing with somebody selling somebody else's designs and printing them, selling them on eBay, and they got shut down. So there's some legal recourse there to prevent people from just printing whatever somebody puts out there. Tulsa. I think I drove through Tulsa all of once. Oklahoma, man. Whew, that's a long drive. How do you like the Ryobi boombox? You know what? I almost bought some of those radios and stuff, but the thing is, I actually had a Sony boombox, and I just said, what the heck? I moved it out to my garage. I connected it directly to I have an Amazon. I don't want to say the word too loud because she'll hear me. She listens. The Alexa, and I got one of the small hockey puck ones, and I connected it directly to that. It's great. I can listen to my audiobooks. I can listen to music. I can say, hey, the lady, what's, how many centimeters in an inch and stuff like that. And it just tells me. I think it's a great tool. I have hooked up some shop lights. So at the end of the day, when I'm done, I can say, turn off shop lights, and it turns off all my shop lights at once. I don't have to go hunting for plugs and stuff. Thingiverse. Oh yeah, I spent way too much time on Thingiverse hunting down stuff to print out. What do I think of Hercules and the DaBEAR brands versus mainstream? I think that Harbor Freight has a long way to go to prove the value proposition there. The Hercules in particular, it's priced so close to the other mainstream top-of-the-line products like Ridgid and the Porter cables and even the DeWalt and Milwaukee stuff when it's on sale, that I don't see the value proposition in saving a couple bucks to go with the Hercules. Now the DaBEAR at $50, that puts it right in line with like the Black & Decker. because the Ryobi stuff is even more expensive than that. So I see the DaBEAR line being useful for when you have a situation where you're worried about either the safety of your tools being stolen or damaged or something. Like some guys have talked about having a bag of truck tools. And I definitely see the DaBEAR being usable for that. Or, maybe I can get some tools for the Cubs. That'd be a great idea. I know old AVE tore them apart and said that they were not skookum enough for him. But in a lot of cases, I think he puts too much emphasis into the analytics, the academia of the situation, and not enough rubber meets the road kind of stuff, which is, I've seen plenty of people in academia say, oh, that can't be done. And then I see actual guys and gals on the street doing it. And they'll shake their heads. Well, the numbers say it can't be done. Well, obviously you left a number out. And that's the problem with academia, is you can never simulate everything that can happen in the real world. When I want to come home to Iowa to be in 9 inches of snow. We got these things out here called mountains. So anytime I want to see some snow, we drive up to the mountains and we go, what's that? Oh, way up there in the mountains. And we visit the snow and we say, hi snow. And we go by. And we say bye snow. And we go home and I don't have to worry about my car freezing or my pipes freezing or my shingles cracking or any of that stuff. I like visiting winter. I don't like living with her. Best chisel, planer, and shaper. Not the bear to ask. Sorry. I use the cheap Harbor Freight chisels, and I picked up some other ones. I had some great ones from a garage sale that I let a buddy borrow and haven't seen them again. And as far as a planer, I've just got the whatchamacallit. The best planer out by far from all, I did a bunch of research and was actually about ready to pull the trigger on one, that DeWalt planer. If you're looking for your basic shop planer, that top of the line DeWalt one is by far the best planer you can buy for your average shop use. But I've got one hooked up to my I can never remember the dang name of the thing, my Shopsmith, and that's what I do. Yeah, AV burnt one out in 10 seconds. Yeah, but also that's the thing. Look at what he did to burn it out. Is that something you're going to really see in the real world? I don't see it. You saw Jay's thing on ethanol. Let me scroll back up here. Yeah, E10 is not a good fuel source, and I know, and being from Iowa, that's blasphemy to say that corn is not the best solution for fuel. I'm sorry, the DaBEAR is a straight hardcore go electric kind of guy. I've got electric scooter moped things. I got 5 of them still. I need to sell a couple of those things. I've got a hybrid car. My dream car right now is guys, I hate to say it, it's a Tesla. If I could get a Model X, I would be a happy bear. Now, it wouldn't be, if they'd make a pickup truck, I'd be even happier. Have you seen the semi that they're making? Oh, there's somebody else who already has. I think it's called Thor Trucks or something. They've got a full-size working semi that's all electric. That thing is bad. You left Denver. I used to love winter too, and then I became an adult, and I had to be the responsible one. Yeah, beat him. Delta Milwaukee, the 2 brands I only use for cordless. DeWalt. Man, I gotta tell you, Ridgid is a no-brainer when it comes to cordless tools. They're often rated the best tool in their category. The hammer drill or whatever, or impact driver, that thing wins awards night and day. And I've tested, you saw my video, I tested a whole bunch of them. I've used all these tools. Don't get me wrong, DeWalt makes good tools, Milwaukee makes good tools, but at the price, they're not significantly better than Ridgid. They don't have any more power than the Ridgid. And if you want power, then you need to get yourself the Cobalt, because I got those 24 volt ones, and man, they will whip the snot out of the 20 volt stuff. The DeWalt planer. Yeah, man. You got to. What's his name? Oh, the guy who does. Was it woodgears.ca or whatever? He's on here on YouTube. He did a great review of all the different planers, and he swears by the DeWalt planer. See, though, for all of you who think I'm a DeWalt hater, here's the bear saying buy DeWalt. No protection from burning out. Ridgid will shut itself off. You're talking about the shoot, what do you call it? The Bauer ones that they'll burn themselves out. But what I gotta say about that is, don't be a widget, man. If you're overworking the tool, you should be the trigger, the safety. I used to teach firearms classes, and I would say the safety's not on your gun. It's in your head. And the same thing with your tools. You should know what their limits are and don't be running past that. Doyle Red, you know what? I've been wanting to try them. I honestly have. I've seen them, and I was really excited to see Harbor Freight come out with a line of really good quality tools. In fact, I got to get my CNC out of storage because I've been wanting to build my own set of hand tools, like do my own set of screwdrivers and stuff and my own pliers. So who knows? Maybe I'll just break down and do that. Tesla just sent a car to space. Man, I loved it. And you see what it said on the dash? Don't panic. Yeah, Elon, I said before about there's always someone saying you can't do that and there's someone doing it. Boy, that describes Elon Musk to a T. Oh, you can't do digital currency. Oh, wait. PayPal did it. Oh, you can't make a solar energy company in the U.S. Elon did it. You can't do a private space company. It's something that only governments can do. Elon did it. You can't start a new car company. It won't work. Elon did it. Man, that guy is, he's my idol. And he dates beautiful women, too. He can't settle down and marry one of them for any length of time, but I guess he's too much of a workaholic. But and he is straight up. You hear him talk. He is quintessential Silicon Valley. There's a lot I don't like about the Bay Area, but man, that mindset in Silicon Valley of we don't quit, we don't give up, we will figure this stuff out, and we will. For any of you guys who've seen The Martian, I'm gonna science the bleep out of this. I love that kind of mindset. The Bear is all about I don't say no. I say we're going to figure a way. We'll improvise. We'll adapt. We'll overcome. Yeah, for those impact ones are pretty loud. The Ridgid one is pretty quiet because it uses liquid, but it's got this weirdo torque factor to it because it is liquid. Just grab that Tesla out of space. It's supposed to come back around in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. It should be coming nearby. Maybe we should go up there and snag it then. Well, I'll tell you what. If you can get the Ridgid on sale, it's a medium-priced tool that is above medium-price quality with lifetime warranties. Just make sure you keep your receipts, your proof of purchase, and that you register the tools. And as long as you have everything documented, you know where it is, you'll have that lifetime warranty to back it up. You'll have to let me know how those Doyle tools work out. I definitely want to try them out. Hold on here. I'm having trouble keeping up with the chat here, guys. Y'all need to slow down. Yeah, you are the safety. Theory of operation really follows actual use. Yeah, that's, as I said, I was in, for those of you I was in video games for the longest time, and they would test the snot out of stuff, but you never know what really is going to happen until you put it out there in public use, and then they just do all sorts of stuff with it. Woohoo, James, my man, $2. Thank you, James. You're the dude. There's another super chat for you. I should do a bear dance. I should have a little animation set up. Let's see if I can do it. Woohoo! Do the super chat dance. Hey. Oh. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate that. Also, don't forget, you can support the bear by, let's see if I can do this. Patreon, the Home Distillers Workbook, buying DaBEAR and other merchandise in the shop, and of course, someone please buy my Cadillac. All right, we're back. What are your thoughts on the Pittsburgh Harbor Freight mechanic set? I've not used it a lot, not the mechanic set itself, and I'm not usually a big fan of buying quote unquote tool sets. In fact, let me just pull it up, make sure I'm talking about the same thing. James, about the Cobalt set, I'm very happy that Plus you registered. Oh yeah, the Cobalt set, man, that was great. The salmon burger. I don't do salmon, man. I'm a whitefish kind of burger. I like me some mahi. That's my jam. Pittsburgh. No, that's that 300. People are always asking me about that 301 piece tool set. What is the draw to that thing? All right, I'm going to say this again. I think it's I'm going to say no. All right, there's just too much junk in this tool set. You know, all those Allen wrenches are junk. And they're just fluff in there. I don't care for those screwdrivers either. I don't like that style of screwdriver. And I hear the ends on the metal are really soft, to be honest. Now maybe you want to spend the time hardening them up, and that crescent, sorry, not crescent, adjustable wrench. Yeah, I think you're better off just finding sale items that come up and buying them individually. And also always keep track of the clearance section over at Harbor Freight, because I do see a lot of ratchet and wrench sets coming up in the open box. A lot of people go and they buy them for one project, they do what they need, and they take them back. So I would take a look out for those. Husky 3-piece toolbox, yeah. You know, hey, so I was at my local Harbor Freight, and they had that 9-drawer workbench in stock. I don't know why, but yeah, that's the one thing. Look at Ben. Is that it? You're right about that. Harbor Freight's great about exchanges, man. They're just, I don't know if it's that they have good customer service or that they just don't care. But either way, if I walk in there, it's usually like, yeah, just leave it over here and go get what you need. They're real kind of like, you know, whatever about it. Macon, Georgia. You know, two things happened in Macon, Georgia that I've ever happened. I got a speeding ticket, and I had the best Pizza Hut thin crust pizza I ever had. I might have just been hungry, but you know how Bear is when he's hungry. Yeah, those screwdrivers, they're just, you know, I keep saying I'm going to do that one of these days. I'm going to build my own screwdriver set. Hey, Rick. Yeah, you know, I was actually just thinking about that. Somebody was saying that they bought one for their cub and that he really likes the channel and stuff. And I asked him to send me a picture because my kids wanted to see him. So you're right. We should get people sending pictures of DaBEAR. Also, I'm going to try and come out with a line of hats also. What do I use to organize my sockets? Oh, don't ask me that. Oh, DaBEAR's embarrassed. Bears in shame. Yeah. First of all, I have so many socket sets, you have no idea. I have bought, I don't know how I managed to pick these up. I've got probably 2 or 3 cheesy socket sets. I've got 2 really good socket sets. I've got a couple of mediocre ones. I've got one from the RV. I've got one that I kept in my car. I've got ones that were given to me. And right now, I have them all very neatly organized in an ammo box, just thrown in there. Yep. No, but my one good set is in a plastic case that holds everything. But actually, that's another reason I was thinking about getting my CNC set out. I was going to order some of that foam and cut my own socket set pad for my drawers for it. Hey, I got a question for you guys. Is there any reason not to use the magnetic tool holders? Is there a drawback to using magnetic tool holders? Because those seem like a no-brainer, and yet I see lots of people who don't use them. Check this out. No, they had them, Eric. They had them in my store. The problem is the bear's been poor. The bear, I quit my job last year. We sold our house in July, and we moved to Vegas. We bought an RV and we toured the West, moved to Vegas, and I decided that, it's been a long time of me working, and I wanted to do my own thing, and I was burned out in the industry. So I'm doing YouTube full time. I write books. My book sales actually had been really good, and we'd been planning to survive mostly off of book sales, but a major publisher had offered me a contract a few years ago. They basically wanted to buy my book from me for, beads and take over my business. And I told them where they could stick it. Well, they went out, they hired somebody else to publish a book, and they did. And now they have been paying people to write negative reviews on my book, and my book sales have been cut in half. I'm really pretty upset about it. So yeah, right now, if the channel takes off more, I get a few more books out. I don't know how many new tool purchases the bear's going to be doing. I was just at Harbor Freight yesterday. I was looking at those socket holders, but romance novels, Harlequin stuff. No, the bear wrote, here, let me pull it back up here. Not the caddy. Come on, where'd it go? The Home Distiller's Workbook. That's actually my best-selling book. I wrote that book, and I wrote a book on how to make beer and another one on wine. I've got a few other books, but they're not under my name. They're all do-it-yourself kind of stuff. But yeah, the Moonshine book has been a bestseller on Amazon for about 5 years up until recently. And just surprisingly out of nowhere, I started getting a bunch of negative reviews. Go figure. Oh, as far as the magnetic stuff, yeah. Oh yeah, and speaking of which, that mag strip is going to be free in the next in the President's Day sale. They're giving that thing away. That might be a nice little freebie to pick up. It's not something you often see in the free coupons. Metal dust, yeah. I was actually just thinking that when I mentioned it. Like my in fact, in some tools, I got a buddy who uses an old bandsaw for a 14-inch for metal cutting, and he keeps a magnet running right next to the blade just to pick dust up. So it can be both good and bad. Yeah, the plastic socket sets, they look great. I like the feel, the texture of the foam, I'm a special kind of bear. I like fancy stuff. That's a good idea. That's a nice little hack, putting the blue tape over the holder so you can peel it off to keep it clean every so often. That's a smart idea. Yeah, the Harbor Freight President's Sale. Let's pull that up, take a look at it real quick. There was something about that. Oh, that's still the tool sale. Let's see here. Harbor Freight President's Day Sale. So they got the 20% off coupon, that crappy flashlight. Yeah, the free magnetic one. Free tarps. You know the tarps? Those things, they don't last long, but I pick up a ton of them, and I always find uses for them. Capri tools. I've never used them. I'm not familiar with them. Let's see what they are here. Oh, yeah, I've seen these. Yeah, there's a reason I don't use them. They're expensive. Yeah, they're pretty enough. I'll tell you that. And I don't know, they probably work just fine, but they are not in the Bear's budget. Refinishing a gun stock, that'd be fun to do. Hold on here, I'm trying to catch up with some of the chats here. I'm getting behind. You guys are weighing me down here. Yeah, and the Bear doesn't do a whole lot of automotive stuff. I do some. I do basic maintenance and stuff on the car, but I'm not a mechanic by trade or anything, so it's not my main. You know, when you get deep into those stuff like the Capri stuff, that's serious mechanics kind of stuff. Finishing a gun stock. My brother's working mag holders. Da-da. Hey, Carlos. What is this? Amp? Really? You just stumbled into the den? Boy, you're lost now. Would the tarp be good for covering a gas grill? Yeah, you know, they're actually pretty good as long as there's not a lot of, if it's in a static application. Like I've had them covering my trailer and stuff, and they fray fairly easily if they're getting wind blown and stuff. But for just, you know, covering something, holding it down, they're great for that. And I used to pick them up back when it was free without purchase. I would pick up one every time I just even drove by a Harbor Freight. I'd stop and pick up a tarp. I had like 20 of them, and I'd give them away to people and stuff. So here, read about the HF tire changer, bent first use. Kits to fix up harbors. Oh, that would be an interesting business. Kits to make Harbor Freight stuff not cheap. I don't think so, because I think the whole point of the people who buy stuff from Harbor Freight are either buying it because they don't care about the quality, or because they know that the one item that they're buying is one of the few items that is of good quality, or they're like me or most of the guys here, where we know what it takes just to do a few tweaks to fix the stuff up. So I think you might be swimming upstream trying to sell kits like that. Unless there was like one specific tool or a small set of tools where you could make something cheap enough that it would cost us, you know, the time versus money savings would that make that equation work. Whoa, what am I doing there? Bear's moving stuff around. Okay. Let's see here. 18-inch magnet. Yeah, that's what I was just looking at, that 18-inch magnet on the coupon there. Wow. Harbor Freight has their 18-volt cordless drill driver. Now, this is not their lithium ion. This is their old version. But if you're looking for just disposable, you know, in-law kind of gun or truck, not gun, in-law, you know, loan to the brother-in-law kind of tools, $17. I may buy that just to use it as a parts thing to tear apart and to do some other projects with the Cubs. You know, getting a good electric motors and good batteries like that, that's hard to come by. They can get pretty pricey, but I buy something like that, tear it apart, and you get some good parts out of that. Toolhead 147. I'll tell you what, if you want a shout out, you just send me an email with your information. I take all the shout out requests going through email. It's red@red-beard.com. Yeah, the gray tarps do last longer, but they don't give them away for free. if you buy ratchets for over $100. Well, I'm not judging. I don't do ratcheting for a business. I would say that I agree with you, but there's guys out there that their job depends on it, and that's their call if they want to spend money that way. Because they'll outlive you. Oh, no dark humor there. I like it, Jack. Yeah, I guess, the nice thing about the Harbor Freight, especially the hand tools, is, anytime they break, you just take them back, toss them on the counter, and they give you a new one. My own Harbor Freight store. Oh, the smell of off-gassing. My wife would never come and see me. You can't get her into a Harbor Freight. She hates the smell of those stores. I'd never get a kiss or any loving from the missus then. I come home smelling like Harbor Freight every day. And I'll be honest, man, I did my time back when I was young doing retail. I would hate it. I'd have to deal with people like me. The 12-inch Admiral miter saw blades. I've had them, and I was not impressed. All my blades these days are either Irwin or Diablo, and honestly, I've been lucky enough that when I go to look for one or the other is on sale, and that's what I buy. I just buy either the Irwin or the Diablo, whichever's on sale. I probably am leaning towards the Irwin a bit. But I've never had a problem with the Diablo. I just think I get a slightly better cut with the Irwin. The Harbor Freights, they're too thin. They are thin, but they work. That's what I was saying. They're not great for something where there's going to be some sort of abrasion on them. But if you're just covering something up, it's just a tarp. I hate humans too. Brought in a broken ledge hammer to the Harbor Freight. We're going. And the sledgehammers and the people who swing them. That sounds like a show that should be on Lifetime or something. IKEA drill. Oh, they do make a power tool, don't they? That thing is... I remember seeing that a long time ago. The IKEA power set. That's a sad little piece of equipment is what that is. Oh, yeah, and it comes in that cute little box. Oh, that's adorable. Yeah, that kid is weird, but they got yummy meatballs. We take the kids there every so often, if for no other reason, just to have a cheap meal, because you can get a lot of good food there for really cheap. The kids love it, too. They love going to any kind of buffet kind of thing. How much longer is the live stream? Oh, wow. Good point, man. We're just 8 minutes overdue. The Bears got to meet my Cubs for dinner. We're talking about buffets. We're going out to some school function thing tonight, guys. Any experience with the Harbor Freight airbrush and compressors? No, I've not used the Harbor Freight airbrushes. I bought one and never actually got around to using it. I've used some of the other paint guns they have, and I thought those were decent. As far as the compressors, I use the 21 gallon, vertical compressor. If you're using the airbrush, I'm sure the small pancake compressors are just fine. I do recommend the pancake compressors for people doing nail guns and for airbrushes, and that's about it. Free Harbor Freight screwdrivers are worthless. Yep, they sure are. Cinnamon rolls. Ooh, cinnamon rolls. All right, guys, the Bears got to run. I got to go meet the fam for dinner. I hope you guys get to spend some time with your family tonight. You take care, folks. Remember, as always, shine on. And I'll see you on, this Friday. I'm going to post something this Friday, but I'm not going to be able to respond to any comments or anything anytime soon until next week, because we got to take the youngest cub back over to California to go to, Kaiser. He's He's getting an MRI on his knee. He's having that joint pain I was telling some of you guys about. So anyway, the whole family's going. So we'll be back next week, but I'll have that video up for you on Friday. All right, guys, you take care. See you all later, guys.